G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here and we're back for some more modern action. So we have done a few adjustments to the deck list this league. After talking with Liam O'Brien a bit in the comment section, we came to a general consensus. First of which was the addition of Core Spirit Dancer. Now he's actually added 2 copies of Core Spirit Dancer into his list and minus down on Floofy Paws down to 3. I'm just going to keep it at 4 Floofy Paws and go with the 1 Core Spirit Dancer for now. Additionally, we're going to be bringing in a second copy of Griff Spoon because evasion is something I've found myself wanting more and more. So to make way for these cards, we're going to be removing Cartouche of Solidarity and also all that glitters. Additionally, in the sideboard, we've gone down to 3 copies of Force of Vigor. I was thinking of keeping it 4 out of pretty specifically Fear for Hammer Time, but since we've got the addition of Solitude in our sideboard, that actually overlaps into Hammer Time and we can bring that in that slot, which should be pretty good. So with the sideboard, we've still got 4 Leyline of Sanctity, 3 Force of Vigor, 2 Solitude, 3 Chalice of the Void, 2 Gadok Teague, and a 1 of Pithing Needle. Alright, so that's it for the deck updates, guys. Let's get into the league. Okay, here we are for the first match. We lost the Dial Roll versus Tentora. We're going to go ahead and keep this hand. It's a good looking 7. Opponent also on 7. Triome, okay, this could be a Cascade deck, would be my first assumption. We're really going to have to make our land drops and curve out in a quick manner if we're going to have any sort of a chance here. We get like Ice Tap down and Brick on land. That's the absolute worst case scenario. Alright, well, that's a land. This spot, I feel like we run out Sentinel's Eyes. It is the worst card for them to counter. Just a lazy Dried Arbor off to the side. So no counter effect just yet. Alright, throw this one down and pass turn. See what our opponent does. Alright, and they hit, they go and search out a Steam Vents Intapped, Lightning Bolt, taking out Dried Arbor. So every color but white in our opponent's pile. This could just be the Indomitable Creativity deck. There's a Fabled Mirror Breaker from our opponent. Alright, desperately needing land, and we do indeed find it. That is a pretty handy one. Alright, let's get this one down. And then we can also Slippery Bogle, and we'll have good protection here. So we actually removed Cartouche of Solidarity because I hadn't been seeing this deck, and Cartouche is a pretty good aura target off of Floofy Paws because it gives you that extra creature to try and avoid the Archon target player to sacrifices a creature effect on ETB and attack. So we'll go ahead and attack. Opponent down to 13 now. Alright, so opponent draws and discards 2 with Fabled Mirror Breaker. Interestingly enough, 2 mana sources to the grave there. Alright, and a land for our opponent into second Fabled Mirror Breaker. Not facing too much counter magic so far from our opponent. What do we see? Hyena Umbra, and that's got to be a reasonable one. We'll kick it off with Rancor. Just priority number 1, getting that one down. Alright, and that does resolve. So we'll go ahead and I reckon we'll Hyena Umbra on this Bogle. That will turn off our opponent's attacks almost completely, buffing Ethereal Armor by 1. We have our opponent dead in 2 attacks regardless. Alright, and no blocks from our opponent, down to 5 now. And they do choose to crack this one end step. Dwarven Mind, so yeah, it does seem like it's the creativity deck. As long as we don't like face 2 effects that make us sacrifice a creature, like if they were to put it into their graveyard and then return it to the battlefield with what's the 2 mana black card Gristle Shoal plays. I'm sure you diehard modern fans know what I'm thinking. And there is an Archon into the grave. So that's the first part of their terrifying combo here. Alright, an opponent plays Wooded Foothills, leaves it on the battlefield, plays, how do we say this one? Transmogriffy. So currently, right now, they're on 4 life. They have 6 toughness here. So if they block with all of them, we trample 2 damage. I think at this point, we ditch the Floofy Paws. That would force a block with all of them. That's not quite good enough. I guess we keep Floofy because it's guaranteed trigger creature, and then we're like dodging Lightning Bolt at that point. They're up on 7 now because of whatever effect just happened. Was this you gain 3 life? It's pretty BS, man. I don't like that. So Rancor is an extra 3 damage and attack for 10. That's not quite good enough. We have no totem armor on our guy here. They block with everything. It could be pretty troubling. We have to also remember next turn, the Kiki Reflection is going to start copying this for free, and then they'll have a second one coming into play as well. And all that extra ETB is going to be troubling for us. Interesting to know, if we kept the Hyena Umbra in hand instead of Floofy Paws, we'd be in pretty much the same position. Anyway, let's just go ahead and attack. We have a fair bit of first strike damage here. If our opponent wants to kill our creature, they have to block with everything, and we can remove Archon from the battlefield in that point. Then we're just fading a removal spell on our Floofy Paws. I don't think we can rank or attack, because then we just die to this guy next turn, and they just chump with these guys. Attack, creature's gone, and we're in for a bad time. So I think this is really the only line. Alright, so it looks like our opponent decides to block like this. This means they're going to have 2 triggers next turn, which is pretty devastating for us, really. I don't see a way around this. We don't have anything to give Floofy Paws haste. We don't have Cartouche Solidarity to play around anything. I don't know. I think we've just got to show our hand, and unfortunately that's not going to be good enough. We'd need like double Bogle to get out of that spot. Alright, so not surprisingly, opponent is copying, and this is actually 3 triggers as well. We'll just go ahead and concede at this point. Alright, so this is sort of what our opponent is on. Creativity deck. They had slightly different tech with that Tasmography or whatever it was called. Transmography. So you can see, we saw in the first game basically what they're about. Interaction of Leyline Binding. They have the Renin 6. Plus the Beseiju lock that they can go for as well. Hallowed Moonlight, that's an interesting inclusion. I wonder what that's for. I guess for the Living End decks, right? Cascade decks. Also Emrakul on the sideboard, which is pretty terrifying. Alright, so sideboarding should be mostly pretty straightforward here. We want Leyline of Sanctity. It stops them from targeting us with their Archon. So we won't have to sacrifice a creature, which will be really, really good. Gadok Teeg also stops them from casting their combo, although can die to like Lightning Bolt, which we saw in that game. There's also an argument to remove Pithing Needle, bring in Pithing Needle, excuse me, so we can name Beseiju, so we don't get like Ren Beseiju locked. Reminder guys as well, if you do enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. I think something like this should be about right. So we'll take out 3 Daybreaks, 2 Griffspoons, Spirit Mantle, course Spirit Dancer. We should be able to get there without trample effects past these tokens. Hopefully that's my plan. Hand looks solid. Pretty weak into their combo, but it's really aggressive, so I think we'll keep it. We've got our mana. We've got our 1 of Daybreak. And creature pass. Opponent starts nice and slow. Find another Bogle, that's kind of nice. We definitely want as much damage as possible initially here. So it's an attack for 4, put our opponent down to 16. And 7 in hand for our opponent, just passing back to us now. Oh, and that is an absolute doozy. Oh my goodness. What a find. I think initially we want to just Sentinel's Eyes, Bogle, attack. That should be fine, and then we can Teague next turn. If we Coronet here, it runs into the issue of they just like Leyline binding it, and then we don't really do much. Here they can sort of like take away Ethereal Armor, which would sort of suck, but next turn we can Teague. Playing Teague here is like playing into Lightning Bolt as well, right? So Triome. Is this a counter effect? Mana Leak? Sure. Alright, so play out this guy, attack for 4. And our opponent's at least another 2 turns away from activating, so we get 2 more attacks. Not quite enough damage, would be with Daybreak Coronet and no interaction. Alright, Fabled Mirror Breaker. I guess they can now combo in their next turn at this point. So we just like attack, Teague. Follow up with Daybreak the turn after. Rancor is a pretty good find too. Alright, we'll leave this Bogle back because there's no way we're throwing that one away. Unsurprisingly, no blocks from our opponent. They're down to 5 life. Alright, so Fabled Mirror Breaker trigger now for our opponent. Bloodstained Mire and Rend to the Grave off that one. 6 in hand now. Alright, and opponent uses fire to remove our Gadok Teague. So that's delayed them a turn. Now we can give Trample and Kill. That should be fine. Hopefully they don't have a secondary copy of Mana Leak. I guess we'll see very shortly. Alright, so we do get to resolve both our auras there. Now we can attack. We can attack wide as well, which is fine. We could be facing it beside you. Or maybe I shouldn't have attacked wide. That might have been loose. I think it's fine. Block Trample, block there, and then we lose. Maybe not. Yeah, it should have left the Bogle back. I think I punted pretty hard on this one. Apologies. Alright, there it is. That's pretty frustrating. Get a Dryad Arbor. That's at least an extra creature worth of protection. This is the best of a bad situation, I think, there. Right, opponent blocks there, chumps there. That sort of makes enough sense. They still keep 1 creature. So if they have like Lightning Bolt plus going off, yeah. So the play was Slippery Bogle, needed to stay back. That was a very silly attack from me. I was assuming they couldn't interact for some reason in my head. And definitely punished. Alright, opponent is rolling the dice here, getting Archon. Just have to discard the Daybreak Coronet now. Sack, discard. And we're in a bit of trouble. We've got 1 less creature than we should really, right? Like Ethereal Armor would be amazing off the top. I think that's enough damage to get us there. Okay, play bad, get rewarded. That's pretty damn fortunate. Alright, so this is going to force our opponent's hand fairly immediately. I think that's block with both creatures. 8 toughness, 7 trample. Well, we've got just enough. That is absolutely breathtakingly fortunate for us. We are so damn lucky on that one. Opponent concedes. Jeez. Going into game 3, I might actually bring the Griffspoon back in, taking out the Audacity. Audacity going to Graveyard, offer Beseiju doesn't seem as good as Griffspoon. It's 1 less damage. Yeah, I think I just prefer to deny them having the ability to block us. Alright, this opening hand has a Gadok Teague. Our opponent will now be wise to it though, unfortunately. I think this is playable. I think we could do better if we had like a Beseiju hand that's probably just a touch better. We've seen they've got Lightning Bolt. We've now seen Fire and Ice that they can answer this with. Not very aggressive auras either. Let's look for better. Alright. Thank you, deck. Guess we keep this one. God, how easy is it for them to interact though when they dig? I think we can keep this one if we bottom. We can use Sentinel's Eyes, which will come back no matter what. Banking on land. The first Floofy Paws probably dies. The second one hopefully sticks, and we can start generating Totem Armor. Alright, well that's a fantastic start. Alright, great first draw. Opponent shocks in their Steam Vents, and I guess they're just going to have like Mana Lake up now is what it looks like. Alright, well there's the Mana Lake. So hopefully this turn they just play like Fabled Mirror Breaker. Then we can Floofy Paws, Sentinel's Eyes, get Hyena Umbra, get that protection happening. Opponent like just bricked on land. No reason not to go for this here. Try and resolve it. Alright, and we'll go for an extra little bit of value here. Opponent with Spell Pierce, so we're going to be denied for a turn at least. Alright, well this opponent's on like heavy permission variant of the deck. Dwarven Mine, so our opponents finally made their land drop there. We hit Rancor, yeah, throw that one down, see what happens. Alright, Rancor resolves, which is very, very good for us. Get Hyena Umbra. Now I think we just attack second main the Tig. I think if they had interaction, they would have used it in that spot. Hopefully we don't get like blown out by a Brazen Borrower or something. That would be frustrating, but at least Rancor comes back. We got Sentinel's Eyes coming back from the grave as well. Oh, does Gadok Teague survive Fire Ice because they can't cast it? Does that count as full mana? I think it might. Alright, we'll sack Horizon Canopy. No need to give our opponent any sort of respect here. We'll just start going all in on our guy. Teague also switches off Leyline Binding. Alright, Spell Pierce from our opponent. Again, it's not the biggest issue. We can get this back later. Our opponent's dead in 2 attacks. As long as Gadok Teague stays on the board, I think we're in a good spot. Alright, opponent down to 6 now. And there's the concession. Alright, well, we misplayed in game 2 and got insanely lucky with the Ethereal Armor draw to actually win it. So in all intents and purposes, we probably should have lost this match. Game 3 just turned out to be absolutely cruisy with the combination of multiple Floofy Paws and the Gadok Teague. Alright, welcome back for match number 2. We won the die roll, and this hand looks a little fragile, so let's mulligan. We find the only white source in our deck, so down to 5, and we'll keep this one. Opponent is keeping 7 cards. Versing a Bormy here. I think it's just ditch, Scout, and Dried Arbor, and that seems absolutely fine. For like 5 cards, this is pretty reasonable. Fortunately, we're shuffling those 2 cards back into the mix. So slightly worse percentages, drawing to our mana. We are versing a Scalding Tarn deck. Good hit on land. It's like Audacity, see what our opponent does. I think Rancor is the most valuable aura in face of like a Spell Pierce. Looks like he's just letting them resolve. We'll be aggressive, we'll attack for 5, we'll start this clock. Alright, opponent cracking the mana source here. And we see Geometry's Garden tapped. Is this Rhinos? I think it's Rhinos. There's a Renin 6 now, so we can go ahead and remove this before it becomes an issue, or we can choose to ignore it. If we ignore it, we attack for 6, we put them to 8. Look, it's probably worth taking a turn off to do this. Temple Garden can probably be held in hand here. It's just like Naya colors. Yeah, let's like get rid of Renin 6. Just off the off case, they draw a Beseiju. I don't want them to reoccur one of those every turn, because it's going to be mostly unbeatable. I guess we can play this out. Opponent plays Fabled Mirror Breaker, and that's a bit of a terrifying one. Alright, so it's got that bad boy down. It is just like another transmoggy deck. Alright, well, that's not the best draw either. Ouch. We'll attack in. If only this was Hyena Umbra, that would have been so much stronger there. That's why I can't ever like understand why people just go running around with like 2 Hyena Umbra and 4 Spider Umbras. I definitely see this as the less valuable stat, less valuable card. And we've unfortunately just skipped our end step. Oopsie daisy. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think they're just coming to an Archon here. Alright, so here it is. So frustrating. Opponent with just like Fabled Mirror Breaker into Persist, and that's going to be enough. So the turn we spent answering the Gadok Tig possibly got us killed then, so that's something to keep in mind. I think we probably want to sideboard similar to how we did in the previous match. Something like this. Maybe like Core Spirit Dance is slightly higher value than the Daybreak Coronet, just because it's an extra creature as well. Yeah, it's fine. Let's submit that. Alright, no land, and we'll mulligan. Guess we can keep this one. We do have a little bit of Archon protection. It's in Searching Dried Arbor. It's not amazing though. It's possible we're supposed to bottom a Rancor here and just keep the attack for 5 going for a little while. The other option is bottom Temple Garden. I don't think I want to do that. Let's just bottom our Rancor. I don't, no doubtably keeping a 7 card hand here. And Wooded Foothills from our opponent. We do find Leyline of Sanctity, so if we can ever get to 4 mana, we can give ourselves protection. It can be undone for 2 mana with an opponent playing beside you on it, but good to have options, right? Oh, as our opponent got the Spell Pierce here. I hate playing into Spell Pierce, man. Oh, nope. Stomping Ground. Interesting. And Shock. Nature's Claim? Okay. Hello, like 2016. I didn't realize I jumped in a time machine here today. What an interesting choice of removal. Maybe our opponent's on a budget variant of the deck. It's possible. So like any aura, any creature would be good here. Opponent double red, Bitter Reunion. What the hell is this? Enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Sacrifice it. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Oh god. We're about to get persisted next turn as well. Hey look, Dried Arbor, ready to join the party. Let's go. So go ahead and attack now. Opponent with a little sneaky persist here, and that's pretty upsetting. I guess we go ahead and sacrifice. Hope there's no lightning bolt. See what happens here. This guy's like a little bit weaker too, right? So sack this. We sort of have to hit first strike now as well. It's pretty frustrating. So we need like Ethereal Armor at this point. I think we're just dead. Opponent just gives haste and then we're just dead. Alright, well, GG's opponent. A little bit of a misplay in game 1, attacking that Renin 6, and yeah, just turn too slow here. Oh well, on to match 3. Alright, so welcome back for the 3rd match of this league. Hopefully we're versing something that is not creativity. We lost the die roll. I guess we'll go ahead and keep this hand here, bottoming 1 Sentinel's Eyes. Versing Ender W here. Opponent keeping 7 and a Snow Mountain. Well, hopefully it's some sort of Scred deck. Hopefully that does not have Blood Moon and they don't go like Poetic Ritual into Blood Moon here. That'd be pretty frustrating. Alright, opponent plays Relic of Progenitus. So I guess it is just a red prison deck. Oh my god. Windswept Heath. Fantastic draw. Let's get that basic. Go ahead and start protecting our board a little bit here. It's the most aggressive attack with double Ethereal Armor. Hopefully we're not running into just like Ensnaring Bridge being jammed onto the board main deck. Alright, opponent cracks their Relic. Cycling that one away. 1, 2, 3. Yep, there's the Blood Moon. So we did guess that one a little bit. Not too bad though. Razor Edge Thicket, nothing too exciting here. Let's just continue the barrage. Attack for half our opponent's life. And Seasoned Pyromancer is going to slow us down a little bit. Now we're drawing two Griff Spoons to win the game on the spot. Braid and Scred discarded from our opponent. Alright, well, I guess we'll go and do the old slow attack here. It's nothing too exciting. Opponent's got like a good, 5 blockers on the board here and essentially 5 turns to draw to it. Let's go ahead and play Course Spirit Dancer as well. Maybe it gets eaten by Lightning Bolt. There's no other real way we're going to resolve this though, so we might as well play her out. This could like pave the way for future turns for a like Floofy Paws to stick, which is fine, and then we can actually get our flying, which is also really good. Alright, well, that's less good. Be really good if we could hit Griff Spoon off the top here and just kill our opponent before they jam the bridge. And Spider Umber does not read what we're looking for it to read. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna like slowly lose to Khan the Great Creator, unfortunately. Alright, opponent jump blocks, we pass the turn, and these elemental tokens, absolutely frustrating. Opponent also just goes and tutors Liquid Metal Coating, plays out the bridge. It's pretty much a lock at this point. 3 cards in hand. We can, like, technically hit Beseiju, like Forest Beseiju. I think I'm just going to concede for quality of content purposes, though. Alright, here we can see a Scred deck from November last year. So just a couple of months old here. We can see the main deck relic there. We can see the Scred Lightning Bolt. Fury from our opponent, which is sorcery speed, so not that bad. Hazoret, Seasoned Pyromancer. Obviously the Blood Moons, a couple of Magus of the Moons in the sideboard to be concerned about. Maybe some land destruction. Mostly we'll just board in some enchantment hate and run it back. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Force of Vigor is like a definite need. There's potential for Gadok Teague and Solitude. Pithing Needle can actually name Khan the Great Creator, so I think that's a decent nod here. Our opponent may or may not keep in a Braid, which we saw in the first match. But yeah, it's nothing too much to be too concerned about. I think Daybreak Coronet is going to be pretty irrelevant. We got plenty of Vigilance here for 1 mana at like 2 mana, 2 white mana as well. If our opponent plays a Blood Moon, it's then uncastable. So I think we can pretty safely take out these Daybreak Coronets. Core Spirit Dancer is probably just a cut as well. Probably a little bit weak. Even like Floofy Paws is probably a little bit weak. You count that as an efficiency swap for Gadok Teague, that seems reasonable. Maybe like a one of Solitude to Unseen Season Pyromancer too. Seems unlikely we're going to get a win with Light Paws, doesn't it? Maybe we'll go like double Solitude. Alright, let's submit that. We have good hate for our opponent here. I think we can keep this hand. We have the evasion to fly over the top as well. Basically, what this is missing is Vigilance. Dried Arbor is green. It can be pitched to a Force, so I might actually just run like 1 land here if we don't hit a land drop and not play out our second land drop. Oh, opponent with Ragavan. That's pretty filthy. Alright, well, we do hit a land drop. We can get a little bit of protection from Blood Moon as well, which is nice. Ragavan's going to be like pretty real clock though. Gives our opponent the option to turn to Blood Moon, which I guess would be like frustrating but not the end of the world. In any case, we just attack and start the race. Alright, opponent attacking in with the monkey here. Finds Ethereal Armor off the top. Damn, I wanted that one. Okay, what do we see here? Opponent played... Accidentally skipped to my turn there. Ethereal Armor goes to exile. Opponent did miss their land drop, which is good. Liquimental Talk. 2 mana, can add mana. Target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. Alright, well, I don't think I care about that unless they play a Khan out. I don't really think that's the use. I don't see them playing like Treasure Token being worthwhile there. I guess they can activate this, and like we're vulnerable to Ancient Grudge. Don't think they're running any green though, so interesting. Attacks with the Ragavan, trigger over here. Finds Audacity this time. If your opponent plays Audacity on their Ragavan and it goes to the graveyard, they will get to draw the card. Seasoned Pyromancer now. Well, we don't really care about that too much. I guess they're digging for something of relevance. I guess this is a land drop, so cashing in the treasure token's probably fine. I think that was a little bit harsh of me. Didn't quite realize what I was saying. Alright, so Spirit Mantle, an extra damage, 2-turn clock here for us. We should be a lock at this point. I don't think our opponent can interact enough to take this one. So we'd be going to a game 3 at that point. Opponent sends in. And there's the Ragavan trigger, finding Griffspoon this time. Oh, our opponent has the opportunity to have a flying blocker. Obviously, we still have like a fair bit of trample. But they have we only have 2 copies of Griffspoon in the deck. They hit the other copy there. This will get exiled. We won't be able to play it from our graveyard or anything. Not that we have 4 mana. Alright, opponent playing out a second Ragavan here, and we'll let them use up their resources a little bit before we really grind the hurt. We have like pro creatures anyway, so I guess the flying doesn't even matter. Cool. Alright, on to game 3. I think on the draw, it's probably pretty unlikely that Gadok Teague is going to do very much realistically. We will just go like an extra Floofy Paws, Daybreak Coronet back in. On the play, Gadok Teague's probably fine there because there's potential for us to sequence it on turn 3 with a Hyena Umbra to protect it. On the draw, it just seems a little weak to me. Alright, so opponent keeps a 7-card hand. We see this hand with 1 piece of artifact interaction. We also have 1 basic in hand, but not much after that. I think we can definitely mulligan to something better than just like a 2-2 Bogle. This looks extremely, extremely good. Bottom of the Spirit Mantle, keep everything else. So 1 relic from our opponent. Alright, Rancor off the top for us, so that is a green card for us to utilize. No Dirty Monkey from them either, which is good for us to see. And opponent plays another Mountain and is just looking to pass the turn to us. Another Rancor off the top. Alright, well, I guess we can go for this one. 1 Rancor down is fine. I don't think we're playing any instant speed blockers. If so, I am just completely throwing the game. Alright, so we get in for 3. Opponent at 17. They play their Relic. Activating their Relic, drawing a card. So 3rd land here, an opponent with the Blood Moon. That's fine. We'll just go ahead and get rid of that one with our Rancor in hand. And plenty of protection to calm. Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Water draw you are. Beautiful stuff. Alright, so attack for 7. Put our opponent to 10. We should have it. They can't Blood Moon and can't plus Bridge, so I think we're good here. Alright, opponent plays Khan the Great Creator, and man, that one's not going to do too much too menacing to us in this spot. Yep, there is the Bridge. So our plan is just to ignore this until they play it. So we can play that down, like save 1 life. Seems fine. Go ahead, attack, put our opponent to 3. When they jam Bridge, we besiege you. And if they were somehow to like ritual out a Blood Moon, then play the Bridge, hey, we got the basic. It's a pretty good hit. In the context of everything, that was pretty decent. Alright, opponent with Khan the Great Creator being activated. They search out a dirty little Ratchet Bomb here. That's going to be a turn too late though, opponent. Full just untap, attack, and win. So obviously really fortunate hitting 2 lots of interaction there. Guess I should do this end step. I've given them an extra Mountain there. Lightning Bolt on themselves. Alright. They took the honorable way out, right? All right, good games to our opponent. On to the fourth match. All right, here we are for the fourth match. Lost the Daryl vs Shadow Taker. Opponent has kept 7 cards. We'll mulligan to 6 here. Keep this one. Looks decent enough. And our opponent is on Tron, so suddenly it does not look decent enough. Tron keeping 7 is absolutely terrifying. I think at this point, yeah, they've just got Tron next turn. We have to hope that they just have a Wormcoil hand as opposed to like a Khan hand. We brick anyway? Are you kidding me, deck? That's freaking horrible. Where's our land drops? Come on, man. So in for a piddly 2 damage. It's likely we're just going to sideboarding here. Oh, we can pull up dungeon information. That's kind of funky. Likely going to sideboarding where we've got Force and Gadok Teague as interaction for our opponent. Alright, so opponent plays their power plant out here. This is like an all-foil deck, by the way. Wormcoil Engine. Alright, so that's best case scenario for us. Beautiful. We'll take it. Hopefully it's all creatures and nothing else. You think you can continue that for me, opponent? Please? For the love of God? Because our deck's not doing us any favors right now. Alright, opponent cracks that one. Sylvan Scrying. I guess this is like Search Up Blast Zone at this point. Just Urza's Tower, going for even more mana. Okie dokie. Oblivion Stone. They have the time to put a fate counter on this and everything. Oh god. If we don't see a land, we concede. If not, we can Spirit Mantle. I don't know. It's a really awkward spot. Alright, no mana. Let's concede. Stop wasting time. So yeah, here's like a Tron deck, and we don't have too much to be concerned about here. Obviously, there's the main deck. This is a very strange Tron list. This is a weird Simic list. So obviously, there's Khan the Great Creator, Khan Liberated. There's also Uilmog. There's also Ugin. Ugin's pretty much unbeatable. They play this new Cityscape Leveler some of the times as well. Beside You is interaction. Usually some Beside Yous in the sideboard as well, and they get sided in for the 3 forests. Doesn't seem to be as much of a theme at the moment. It's quite interesting. The more modern decks don't seem to be doing it. Try one more deck. Well, there's one Beside You main, one side. Anyway, they also have like Haywire Might, which is tutorable and was on a different deck list, but not this one. Alright, so these are the cards that catch our attention. Gadok Teague, Force of Vigor, Pithing Needle. Probably like Teague is the most important. And probably in like that order afterwards. Now, Floofy Paws does have a turn 3 kill. So on the play, we're going to be wanting to run all copies of it. That seems pretty damn good. Core Spirit Dancer does not have a turn 3 kill. So let's like go ahead and minus that one out. Daybreak Coronet like seems okay, but not super amazing. Possible we're like overboarding slightly too. Probably not. But we like just take out all our Daybreak Coronets. So I don't really see me wanting to cut anything else. After that, maybe just an Audacity. Alright, we'll submit. Well, we see this hand with Floofy Paws. We're an Ethereal Armor away from killing on turn 3. I think this is just supposed to be worth the keep. We probably have to hit land Ethereal Armor though. I think we're just like a couple of damage short outside of that. We can lead on turn 1 Dried Arbor actually, which means we only have to hit Ethereal Armor. Okay, I like that a bit better. Plays into Dismember a little bit, but it's not super common at the moment. But it has Mold to 5 here. Alright, Chromatic Star from them to kick things off. Force of Vigor off the top. Now we're talking, baby. Let's go. Alright, so Fetch Shock, throw down, and pass the turn. Alright, opponent cracks their star. Plays a Sphere. Okay. That's what we like to see. Bricks on land drop. Yeah, baby. Let's go. And we draw like the Bogle, which is an extra card to tutor here. That's pretty darn good. All right, so first thing first, let's get our Ethereal Armor happening. Now we can get our other fun stuff. We can get Audacity, we can get Griff Spoon, Get our Hyena Umbra. Opponent concedes. I don't see a huge reason to change anything. Let's run it back. It's arguable that Daybreak Coroner is slightly more valuable on the draw because if they like Worm Coil Engine, could be pretty important. Opponent keeping a 7-card hand. We have one piece of interaction here. I think we probably keep this. See what we draw turn 1. If it's a green card, we can play Bogle. If it isn't, we'll hold Bogle in hand for Force of Vigor. Turn 1 Relic. That mean like Natural Tron? So we had an aura there. Alright, we'll just land and pass. Alright, opponent plays their land, cracks their Relic of Progenitus, drawing a card. Looks like the old Natty Tron here. And we have to hope to dodge Khan Liberated here. Draws haven't been the best in this spot. Alright, let's just go for it. If we lose, we lose. Yeah. It's a shame these draws weren't Gadok Teague. That would have been a bit stronger. Oh, wow. Opponent breaks. Dang, this was a 7 as well, right? He kept a 7 in the game 3 here. Yeah, opponent kept a 7-card hand with no turn 3 Tron mana. That's very bizarre. All right, so they're going for it now. Power plant there. We could be getting like Ugin, which could be awkward. Raise Birch Thicket. Oh well, that is something, the very least. The green mana is very awkward to utilize though, unfortunately. Maybe I'm supposed to like Sentinel's Eyes on this Dried Arbor over here. Next level this shit. Ethereal Armor. And we probably get Rancor, I guess. All right, and we've got a toss up on whether or not to attack with the Dried Arbor or not. On like reloading, it could be useful. They like Ugin. We're probably like dead regardless. I think we probably want to play a Hexproof creature as second main. We probably should have Sentinel's Eyes on the Dried Arbor and double dipped on its value. I think we've slightly wasted it here. Alright, play this guy down. Can't liberate from our opponent, so we can actually get them here. I guess like we're not really missing out on 1 damage at that point. We're just like delaying it by a turn. Sanctum is pretty frustrating. Opponent finding Emrakul at 13 mana. Exiling that guy. Rankle back to hand. We can get Sentinel's Eyes from the grave as well. Oh, that's a pretty darn good draw. All right. I'm down for that. That's much better than any other lines that we had going on there. So let's do this. We'll attack. We'll take out Khan Liberated. They shut off other Tron pieces there. Oblivion Stone is still pretty damn good into our board state. All right, so another tower from our opponent. So that's 13 mana. What are they going to do? Like make us sacrifice Gadok Teague? They can eat up our Force of Vigor? No, they can't. They can put Spirit Mantle on the Emrakul. Yuck. Or is this protection from colored spells? Well, that's not good, because we did have the kill. It sucks that their only land there was like the last tower and that it wasn't a 2-mana land. Allowing them to get to it perfectly. Maybe that's why that's what they searched up with the Sanctum. It's just weird the way they sequenced it with like turn 4 Tron instead of turn 3 Tron, and like Sanctum came out on turn 3. Alright, so Ethereal Armor here. That could be worse. Now they're going to play out Sentinel's Eyes. I'm not sure why they're not casting this on their own creature. Protection from instants. Yeah, they could be like suiting up a really big Emrakul right now. All right, so nonetheless, our opponent is suiciding this in. We get to keep like Spirit Mantle, which seems pretty strong though. No like Annihilator on this. That's kind of nice. Oh, and we hit Pithing Needle off the top. That's an interesting one. I don't think it changes anything. I think we just want to like double enchant here, attack. We're one order off killing our opponent in the following turn. I think Pithing Needle overlaps too much with Gadok Tig for us to worry about doing that. So protection from creatures now. We can safely attack in, get that 5 damage through. Oh, I slightly miscounted. We have them like dead. Should we get to one more turn. They could still Besage you the Spirit Mantle away and get there that way. Opponent just tapped 4 mana. I assume they were going for Khan the Great Creator. Realized Tig's passive. Said they're drawing a card with Chromatic Star. Okay. Menace Lifelink, ward, pay life equal to its power. Alright, well that doesn't really do anything. We still attack for lethal. Go Team Bogle. Heck yeah. Pretty happy about that. So if they don't play out like a Chromatic Sphere or Star or something, we're looking pretty darn good here. I guess we just attack and win. Yep. I don't see any reason to play Pithing Needle at pre-combat. I guess they could technically have Dismember. I don't think there's playing around Dismember though. We get there for like pretty much Xaxis. Holy smokes, that was a close one. Surely it's set up for an eventful final match. Okay, welcome back for the 5th and final match of this league. So versing a Gigantha deck, we won the die roll. Dried Arbor Hand is pretty weak in my opinion, more mulligan. So Gigantha could mean Tron, it could mean like an Is It Prowess, or additionally like Is It Breach. So mulligan, we'll keep this one. I think we got him Dried Arbor because it's pretty weak here. Our auras are reasonable but not great. No first strike currently, so if our opponent's putting up flying blockers, that could be an issue. Basically, we just have to hope to hit land drop, hit a good amount of tempo, and go from there. Oh, is this like... Can't be Yawgmoth though, because Gigantha. They can't have any real elementals, so it must be a Death Shadow deck. Okay. We have our best card into Death Shadow right here. I guess it's Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, so here's our opponent with Thoughtseize now, and our hand looks a lot worse after that. Grispin to the graveyard is going to be hard to get to, and currently we only have 1 mana. Yep, so they do choose the Grispin, only 1 remaining in our library. So if we want that, we're going to have to get it with lands. See what happens. And the Death Shadow from our opponent. Well, that did not take very long at all. And well, we hit a land. It's likely whatever creature we play is going to die. Let's like go on the core Spirit Dancer here. It's interesting they searched out a swamp there as opposed to shocking themselves 2 points lower in life. Also a initial interaction with Death Shadow. So if we're going to use like Rancor, trample some damage over our opponent, the Death Shadow will grow like simultaneously as big as the damage you deal to it. So if you're dealing like 3 damage to a 3/3 Shadow and 2 damage over the top, for example, it will grow to a 5/5 with 3 damage marked, and it will live the combat step. So you have to always be careful with your trample triggers and all of that. Well, it's interesting because it looks like we just get to go in a little bit here. Of course, Spirit Dancer lived. Opponent played Fabled Mirror Breaker. I guess we just start drawing some cards. At least Rancor is free to put on the Spirit Dancer. Another Floofy Paws, not really what we're looking for. I think we're okay just making a giant core here. If it dies, we get a card draw. Well, there's our land. A little bit out of sequence, unfortunately, so we couldn't get that Batman and Robin thing going on. I think we want to attack here. Yeah, I think this is fine. If our opponent blocks with the shadow, we'll just assign all the damage to the shadow pretty well. They're willing to go down to 2. We could be dead to a team of Battle Rage even. Maybe one of these cards should have ended up on Scout. The discard Scourge and Bitter Reunion. Wow, this card's getting a lot of play, isn't it? Looks like a little attack all out. I smell a stinky team of Battle Rage here right now. So if we block there, we take 14. If we block here with Team of Battle Rage, we're dead regardless. Well, let's... How are they trying to do this? I guess if there's Team of Battle Rage, we're dead regardless. Fetch Shot goes to 14. So 14, 17, 18, 19 damage, dead to Lightning Bolt. Let's jump this guy. Assume they don't have Fatal Push, so they have like a Bolt or something instead. Spirit Dancer will hopefully live. Well, there's the Team of Battle Rage. There was no beating it at that point. I guess our attack was a little bit premature. But by the same merit, you don't want to give your opponent too much time to like remove this creature as well. 1 turn away, classic. So here is an example Death Shadow list. This one does have the Gigantha there. As you can see, they've got removal of Lightning Bolt, Unholy Heat. Also, Drown and Lock can be a bit of an annoying one there. They also run Underworld Breach for some reason because this deck doesn't have enough value going on as it is. From the sideboard, we can see Engineered Explosives and some Counter Magic, some Dress Down. So it becomes a little bit harder sideboard, post-sideboard. All right, cards we want to consider are the Leyline of Sanctities to protect us from discard. Although, maybe on the play it's not worthwhile. Maybe on the draw it's worthwhile. If they're not running like Liliana of the Veil at the moment, it might not be worthwhile. All right, I don't see Liliana of the Veil at the moment, so I'm going to take the unorthodox line of not bringing it in. So we'll see how that goes. I think we'll bring in the Solitudes, take out the Audacities. That should be fine to submit. All right, well, we still see Gigantha out here at this point. I think this has a keep. Again, it's a mana light. We want to hit like 1 land and then no land. Opponent keeps 7. The Griffspoon can be taken away, unfortunately, by a Thoughtseize here. We'll give him 1 turn to get it though. All right, so Mishra's Bauble from our opponent now. They did target us with that effect. An old classic Thoughtseize. Opponent's starting this one pretty low, and we're losing our evasion right off the bat here, unfortunately. So they're actually taking a while to think. I guess maybe they don't have the second Thoughtseize, so like Spirit Mantle is a potential issue that they are considering. And interestingly enough, our opponent takes away the Hyena Umbra in that spot. So it's a bit of a strange line in my opinion. I think our hand sequencing can be potentially awkward here. I think we just Spirit Mantle attack. If we get land next turn, then we can like Floofy Paws plus Griffspoon. I think that's the safest line just to play it mana efficient. If we play like Light Paws, we get like no value out of it. Dice to Burn Spell. This also makes it harder for our opponent to like Legislator this turn, because then they have to be like scared about this, which is a pretty big threat. Never mind, they have the second Thoughtseize after all. Maybe they're land screwed. I'll take land screwed at the moment though. Nope. All right. So no Death Shadow. This one gets countered by like Drown and Lock. So does Core Spirit Dancer. They got Gigantha. They can't have Liliana of the Veil. They could still have like Liliana's Triumph, Diabolic Edict. We like Scout Griffspoon attack. It's not like a quick lock. If we play Spirit Dancer into removal, that's not great either. I guess it's just Spirit Dancer. It's like start by attacking, I think. We also could be getting blown out by engineered explosives next turn, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, so end step, Blood Crypt in tapped. That's something. They got that Brothers card for 3 mana, 3 damage to the board that people have been playing. No, just Unholy Heat. So this looks like it's just Rakdos as opposed to the other variants that we can see. Now we drew Totem Armor. That's something. Dead in 2 turns. Power and toughness are equal to 20 minus the highest life total amongst players. So if your opponent team of battle rages, that would be us dead. So we need to scout block. We're like 2 attacks away from killing them. This is an awkward spot. I think we just need to take a turn off, as strange as that might sound, just given what we've done with our life total here. We've got protection from creatures, so like just blocking should hopefully be good enough. All right, there's the age-old engineered explosives on 1. That's a hard one to find your way to, isn't it, opponent? Oh yeah, it's not a great spot to be. We get the free block if they choose to attack. Verdant Catacombs from hand, 2 cards left, passing to us. And yeah, that's a hell of a hit, isn't it, Duck? So we're still dead to Team of Battle Rage. If our opponent has it. I think the line is Cycle Horizon Canopy. Assume they don't have Team of Battle Rage specifically. That's a huge draw. All right, at least we have Vigilance now. Really good spot to start rebuilding. Now, if opponent cracks Verdant Catacombs, they're any 1 power aura away from dying. And they do decide to do that. Misha's Bobble, 2 in hand, targeting us. Play Sunbaked Canyon, cycling. All right, they're digging. Oh, wow, no effects from our opponent, not even attacking into this. Interesting. Hello, Sailor. That just wins the game on the spot. I see no reason not to play this right now. Liliana's Triumph? Are they actually running that? That would be so niche if they are. Okay, wow, we get there by the skin of our teeth. All right, game 3. We'll bring in our ley lines now that we're on the draw. We'll take out 3 Floofy Paws, 1 Core Spirit Dancer, submit and hope it's good enough. So this is like bloody shit hand. Opponent keeps 7 again for the 3rd game in a row. All right, we'll keep this. This one looks pretty good. Keep the old 1 creature hand. Our creature's going to be a little bit weak, but hopefully they've got like multiple discard spells in hand, so they've turned themselves off a little bit. Dragon Rage Channeler, no dirty monkey. That's a win from me. Surveil, Lightning Bolt to the bin. All right, so Bobble had to target them. Now we can play our land, play our guy. Rancor's a great draw. We're still missing First Strike though, which is pretty frustrating, or a Flying Aura. All right, and opponent is attacking in for 1 here. We'll go ahead and take that. Do they miss a land drop here? No. Okay, they're just sequencing proper. Fair enough. Yeah, not the greatest draw off the top. Let's play the Spider Umbra to play around Engineered Explosives on 1 at this point. It's about all we can do in this spot. All right, end of turn. Our opponent cracks, and that is a shock on the Blood Crypt. All right. Now there's a Death Shadow or a Scourge in our near future, very obviously. There's the Shadow. Well, if we can find a Solitude, we can pitch Solitude to Leyline. A Leyline to Solitude. What do we see? Yeah, that'd be about right, wouldn't it? You know. Okay, we'll pass the turn. There's potential to hold Rancor in hand there, actually. I don't like too many of our positions here. Underworld Breach from our opponent? Okay, I'll take that. What are they doing? Like Mish's Bubble and Lightning Bolt, getting him back? It's Escape 3, right? Exile 3. So getting back Mish's Bubble, Surveil, Terminate to the bin. Wow, they're keeping it Terminate still. That's crazy. It also depends how many cards on the sideboard they have to bring in. I think we saw 1 copy of Explosives. And plays out Ragavan, looking to pass. Well, I'm praying for Daybreak Coronet here. It's really a necessity at this point. Spirit Mantle's pretty good too. We got protection from creatures, remember? So we can kill our opponent in 2 attacks here. Wow, that's even better than Daybreak Coronet. I take it back. Okay. Opponent's down to 3. We had a chump block here. Team of Battle Rage beats us, but we win in every other scenario that I can think of. Opponent plays out a Bloodstained Mire and then like slow rolls the concede. Absolutely wild. So that was the 4-1, and it feels good to be back in the green, if you know what I mean, with that prize pool. All right, so as far as the deck was concerned, what did we think about the changes? I think the minus on Force was fine. Allowing the Solitude to come in the manner that it did. Also, we've got like Gadok Tig going up in numbers, turned out to be a really, really good call. I think we did that 1 league prior to this one regardless, but the Indomitable Creativity twice and Tron, like there's a lot of matchups we're bringing this card in. It's back to being an all-star. I don't feel so bad getting like my extended boarded ones and paying a fortune. I mean, I know they're worth nothing right now, but at least like it's a playable card, right? Chalice the Void, we didn't see action from here. That's obviously for the Cascade decks, Rhinos, and Living End. Solitude, really good overlap there. Also good into the Living End matchup, as we've sort of discussed previously. Good into Hammer Time, good into Death Shadow, as we're hoping to see. Probably the most suspect card in the sideboard currently is Pithing Needle. I think potentially that could be an extra Solitude or Gadok Tig. I don't think I want to change the numbers on Leyline or Force of Vigor or Chalice of the Void. So the only suspect card is Pithing Needle in my opinion, but as we've talked about before, it has its merit for being in there because getting locked out by Renin 6 plus Beseiju is not something I don't want to do ever again. It has other applications, like against Tron, depending on what turn it is. You can name Expedition Map, you can name the stars, you can name their Planeswalkers, you can name their Oblivion Stone. Like, there's a host of options. Against Yawgmoth, you can name Yawgmoth so they can't activate the darn thing. Blast Zone decks, you know, the list goes on. As for the main deck, I think the call to increase numbers of Griff Spoon was a pretty good call by Liam O'Brien, and very grateful for that. Thank you. It's possible that we even want to go up to 3 copies of Griff Spoon and like just cut out Audacity down to 1 copy. Yeah, Audacity is like seeming less and less good at the moment, unfortunately. It seems like crazy after how much I hyped it up and everything. I still think it's a very good card. I think it's going to have its places where it's going to be stronger and weaker. It seems like the metagame's shifting away from Is It Murktide a little bit, and then flying becomes a little bit stronger when the metagame does that. I still think into Force of Vigor, Audacity is probably a better like Donor Aura to just throw down to get that card out of their hand than Griffspoon. But Griffspoon is... the evasion seems more and more relevant. The Cross Spirit Dancer inclusion seemed pretty mediocre to me. Maybe that's another one we could cut instead of the Audacity. Probably to get a proper picture of this, I should be running 2 copies of it. Possibly for Light Pause, possibly for Audacity. I'm not really sure. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. But thank you also very much for watching the video here. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Till next time, have a wonderful day. I'll see you then.